Yo, I know this is kind of like my third video in 3 days, but I don't know. Maybe after being away for a week, I just feel like I have to get back up to speed a little bit. But anyway, today I'd like to talk to you about DreamWorks because I recently watched another one of their films that I feel is worth talking about. Now, with DreamWorks, I found that they produce quite a lot of films that maybe not everyone considers masterpieces, but people usually kind of have at least kind of one DreamWorks movie that is kind of one of their favourites. And I admit that even if not everybody loves every single film, you usually find at least one in their lineup that kind of you classify as a guilty pleasure, with mine particularly being Megamind. I personally like that film. But usually when talking about DreamWorks, you usually go for either one of four franchises as what's their magnum opus. You can usually go with Shrek, which managed 4 movies, Madagascar, which managed 3 and a spin-off, Kung Fu Panda, which also managed 3, and the one I'm here to talk about today, the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Because the film I finally managed to see yesterday was How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, the third and reportedly last installment of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Now, I remember seeing the first film kind of when it came out. Like, I kind of remember, I don't think I saw it in cinemas, but I remember kind of being on a plane heading somewhere, and the movie that they had playing on there was How to Train Your Dragon. And having watched it through, the first How to Train Your Dragon, it actually, at one point, when I was still kind of working things out on my YouTube channel, it did actually briefly manage to make my top 10 movies list. It since got pushed off there by other movies, but I think, like Megamind, the first How to Train Your Dragon, I always kind of classified as kind of a guilty pleasure. It was one of those movies that I kind of watched every now and again. I'd pop it in, and to be honest, I never get tired of it. I still see what everyone sees in it. I mean, the flying scenes are brilliant, and it's just great to see a character that I related to, a character who kind of seems weak, but then kind of over time kind of builds his confidence and strength throughout the film and throughout the franchise. But How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, the final chapter. Now, in this one, Hiccup, and kind of all the other residents of Berk, they've managed to create kind of a Viking dragon utopia where Vikings and dragons can live quite happily amongst each other. However, when Toothless comes across an untamed Light Fury, kind of a white version of a Night Fury, he begins to kind of fall in love, but that kind of obviously puts a strain on his relationship with Hiccup. Meanwhile, they also have to deal with a kind of new trap who's entered town named Grimmel the Grizzly. And to be honest, one of the reasons that I think Grimmel the Grizzly works here is that his setup is kind of like he's kind of what Hiccup would have turned out like had he originally killed Toothless. The kind of setup for him is that he once found himself in a similar position to Hiccup's, and he actually managed to kill his Night Fury and was hailed as a hero in his village. So he's a nice kind of parallel to Hiccup, given that Hiccup didn't kill the Night Fury, and he eventually grew to be a great chief in his own rights, having created a world where dragons and humans no longer need to fight. Whereas Grimmel found a way to wipe them out, and he's still hailed as a hero. So it's kind of a way of, throughout the film, they have to find a way to kind of escape Grimmel, kind of stay out of his way, and also find a way to kind of protect their dragons, whilst also helping kind of Toothless deal with his new love interest. Now, the kind of big scene that I've seen kind of everyone, when I looked up reviews of this movie, the one scene that I've seen people fawn over and they love is the beach scene, where Toothless is trying to romance the Light Fury. People said that's the scene they love the most, and while I agree it's a good scene, it's not the one that I love, personally, in this film. Throughout the whole of The Hidden World, the scene that I love from this movie is after Toothless gets his kind of new fin that Hiccup has created for him, and he and the kind of Light Fury are able to have kind of a romantic evening, kind of with the northern lights and just flying amidst the clouds. I mean, I kind of feel like it's one of those. It's kind of like the first flight in the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, in that it's just beautiful to behold. Just seeing them kind of fly, and the way that they ultimately animated it, it's just beautiful to watch. Kind of flying amidst the clouds, trying out their abilities, and frankly, it's just a spectacle. I mean, the hidden world itself, when that is finally revealed as well, that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, one of the kind of great points about How to Train Your Dragon is that kind of over time, like many kind of animated film franchises, over time, as the technology got better, they didn't let their storylines slip, and they managed to create an absolutely beautiful looking film. Now, also the final battle that goes when ultimately Toothless and the Light Fury are captured and they have to kind of go into battle. That's just the final battle is just a spectacle in itself. Just seeing the humans kind of work together to kind of free the dragons, but also not rely on the dragons so much, and show how spectacular themselves can be. That to me is brilliant. And it also does include a few kind of parallels back to earlier points in the franchise. For example, one of my favourites is kind of towards the end when kind of Astrid kind of sees how kind of worked up Hiccup is about it all, and she says to him that ultimately she's seen him grow, and that she is no longer the same person she was all those years ago. She's seen him evolve, and asks him what he plans to do about the situation. He goes, yeah, probably something stupid. That's the Hiccup I know. Kind of referencing back to his line in the first film. Now, the ending, I have to admit, the ending I won't spoil. Believe me, I don't have the authority to spoil it, but if you have seen it, yeah, this is kind of maybe not heartbreaking, but you kind of understand why it's going on, but it's still kind of dreadfully sad just to kind of see these characters that we've gotten to know over the past few years and suddenly see them having to part. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful and sad, and if you don't get a little teary-eyed, something's wrong with you. Now, with the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, I have been told that if you kind of watch the movies along with the TV shows, you do get a better sense of Astrid and Hiccup's relationship kind of throughout the TV shows and the movies. Now, I personally only saw the kind of first of the TV shows, that being Dragons Riders of Berk, but I didn't see Defenders of Berk or Race to the Edge, so I probably haven't got the kind of full experience of it all. For someone else, yeah, maybe. But also it probably is kind of a lot better structured. But in the movies, it's very well structured as well. I mean, kind of in the first movie, she's kind of the person who kind of wants to do well, wants to prove herself, and he's just the kind of idiot in the corner. By the second film, they have started to develop a good relationship. She sees potential in him, and kind of by the third film, they do seem like a genuinely good couple. It also kind of addresses the future, which the franchise might be coming to an end. It might be over. I thought they might do. There's always a possibility they might do what DreamWorks themselves did with Shrek, or what Pixar ended up doing with Toy Story, which is kind of screw another film in there. But I kind of hope they keep this one kind of as it is, because it does kind of present a view of the future that maybe one day dragons will return when kind of they can do so in peace. But yeah, I feel it's a good point to end the franchise on. So kind of throughout it all. Now, my ranking of kind of each of the movies. The one I would put lowest on the list, personally, I don't think it's a bad movie, but that would be How to Train Your Dragon 2. It's not necessarily a bad movie, but I think just out of the three, it's got probably the weakest villain with Dragon Bloodfist, but yeah, it's a decent film, and I will pop it in every now and again. My number 2 spot would probably go to The Hidden World. Once again, it's a good film, and it is a nice capper to the franchise, but I feel it doesn't quite live up to the kind of heights that the first one did. I mean, by the time the Hidden World rolled around, kind of Hiccup has to be kind of this perfect chief. He is the leader of his tribe. Or it's just a little more compelling to see him go from the kind of screwy loser to someone who actually people respect. So I think the first one I do place the highest, or the best out of the franchise. But, you know what, having seen the Hidden World, yeah, I think it's a good way to cap off the series, and you know what, a good way to cap off the franchise. Maybe someday dragons will return and we'll finally be able to see them for ourselves. We can only hope. Anyway, until next time, see ya.